WRKS Pickens Jackson.
All systems go.
Live from the Whiskey 61 Lounge inside the Bank Plus studio.
This is now recorded.
Live in the studio.
It's the Out of Bounds Show with Bo Bounds. Streaming live worldwide on the Out of Bounds radio app. And on your radio at ESPN 105.9.
All set? Let's go.
The Zone.
Good morning. We are the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone.
Ooh, baby. Be hot take.
It's a Football Friday brought to you by Mango Cart Wheat Ale. Show is also presented by Kessler Prime and the Renaissance. KesslerPrime.com to make a reservation. Go ahead and order up a ribeye medium rare, side of bacon wrapped shrimp. They call it shrimp Lejeune. That's a fancy. Jackson calls them snails. They call them escargot. Whatever. KesslerPrime.com to make a reservation. I'm your host, Bo Bounds. Jackson Meadows with me. We'll have Dr. Mike Manning hang out with us for 10 minutes in the next segment. And then we'll have Tom Luganbill, National College Football Analyst with ESPN. He'll recap a little bit of Penn State and Notre Dame. That was one hell of a ball game. 31 points in the fourth quarter. Good grief. Wow. That was a physical ball game, too. It was like an SEC game, so I do have to tip my cap to both of those teams. And that field goal kicker was money and nails there at the end. There was never any doubt when that ball left his foot that sucker was going in. Kudos to that young man. Mitch Jeter. We called him Derek Jeter's nephew, even though he's not.
Same.
Yeah.
Clutch.
He was clutch. He was clutch. It was look, you hated that a team had to lose, but 31 points in the fourth quarter, and Riley Leonard got knocked out of the game at one point. He got lit up. He didn't know where in the hell he was when he walked back to that tent, but they gave him some of that, whatever it is. Mike would know, whatever the smelling, some, and then he figured it out, and I guess he had to did a little 2 + 2 = 4. And eventually got back in the game. But that 31 points in the fourth quarter was wild. And Notre Dame ends up winning 27-24. Started off slow, I guess, 0-0 in the first quarter, and got going a little bit in the second, not a lot in the third, and the fourth quarter was wild. It was like an NFL game. You know how they start slow a lot of times in the NFL, and they kind of feel each other out? That doesn't usually happen. College football, they'll just start ripping and rolling. But it was almost like a heavyweight fight in an NFL game. And then once the offensive coordinator said, "Hey, we got to open this thing up a little bit," they damn sure did. And Mitch Jeter, man, unbelievable. And how about the dude who broke the guy's ankles, Jaden Greathouse? What a name on the back of your. I mean, it takes up the whole thing. You know, a lot of those guys in the Big Ten have those names that are, you know, they've got 27 letters in their name.
How?
In the Northeast and the Midwest. I mean, this guy, Jaden Greathouse, unbelievable catch and run. He broke the Penn State safety's ankles just and flew by him. I saw Louis Riddick talking about it this morning before the show, and he was shaking his head on ESPN. But I still think Penn State should have gotten Tyler Warren the ball more. He's like your poor man's Brock Bowers from Georgia last year. And he's not Brock Bowers, but he's 6'6", 257 pounds. You can't do anything with him in college football. And I thought Penn State needed to get the ball to him more. You don't get a generational talent like that often. And when you do, you need to scheme it up left and right for him to, try to win the game for you. And 6 touches for 75 yards is fine, but I'm thinking 10 or 11 at least from Tyler Warren. He's a dude. He is. And they let him run the ball twice. He actually ripped off an 12-yard run at one point. We'll see what we get tonight with Texas and Ohio State. Jackson doesn't think that Texas is playing with them.
No. I don't think they're any good.
That's a little extreme.
Okay. But now I really just want Ohio State to win it. I don't know why. Well, yeah, I mean, I would like to see the whole Marcus Freeman playing his old team type deal.
Okay.
I mean, he is a Buckeye.
That's right. Marcus Freeman is a Buckeye.
Multi-year starter.
Wow. I'd forgotten about that.
So, I mean, it could.
Marcus Freeman is a good football coach. Give him credit.
Absolutely.
What he's done at Notre Dame. And he's likable. Like, we like to hate Notre Dame. And it was easy to hate It was easy to dislike Brian Kelly and Charlie Weiss and Lou Holtz. Now I got Marcus Freeman, and he's got all this charisma. He's good looking. He's
young.
Everything young and fun. He's out there playing with his kids. He's got little kids. He's out there playing with his kids on the field. But he's at Notre Dame. And so now I like Notre Dame. I don't know what happened. I've made fun of Notre Dame on this show for 20 years. And now they're in the national championship game. And I know they went in 2012, but you knew what was going to happen in that game. I mean, Alabama beat them 38-0. And Nick Saban, out of respect, because Nick grew up in the era where Notre Dame was, the Holy Grail. I mean, my dad lived in New Orleans in the 60s. He said they would replay Notre Dame games on Sunday morning in New Orleans in the 60s. I want you to think about that. And so, the Holy Grail, Saban takes his foot off the pedal against Notre Dame. They could have beat them by another 20, 25 points in 2012. But he grew up in West Virginia. He grew up at a time as a kid when Notre Dame, coming out of World War II, was the deal. They were the deal, along with Coach Paul Bear Bryant at Bama and a little bit of Darrell Royal at Texas and a little bit of McKay at Southern Cal. But this is where we are now. They're going to play in the national championship game on January 20th in Atlanta, and they're either going to play Ohio State or Texas. The line's moving around here, and Ohio State is laying, just depends on what book you're looking at, 6 to 6.5. Yesterday when I was at the Crystal Sky Casino in Louisville, Mississippi, it's the new Pearl River Resort Casino. They now have 3, Pearl River Resort in Philly, Bocoma outside of Laurel, and now Crystal Sky Casino right off Highway 25 in Louisville. The line actually moved a half a point while I was doing the show in the sports book. It was Notre Dame minus 1.5, and it went to 1 when that little flu. There was some talk of some guys having the flu, but it did not impact their team or their starters. Now, it was presented to us as it was backups and special teams players for whatever that was worth. It definitely didn't hurt Mitch Jeter, the field goal kicker who drilled the 41-yarder to win the game. So that's where we are. And then we got NFL playoffs all day on Saturday, all day on Sunday, and Monday night. Jim Harbaugh, you think he can coach? First year. Do you think coaching matters, leadership matters? First year. LA Chargers, they're in the playoffs. Sean Payton, his second year with the Denver Broncos, they're in the playoffs with a rookie quarterback.
Yeah.
Coaching matters. So we talk about it all the time with the Rebs and the Dogs, right? I mean, Jim Harbaugh, year 1, playoffs. Unbelievable job he's done. In a tough division with the Chiefs. I mean, those dudes can ball. I would not want to face Harbaugh. And Sean's got to go to Buffalo this weekend. Can you imagine what that weather's going to be like? I ate dinner at Kessler Tuesday with a guy from Buffalo, New York. And I basically just asked him, I said, how did you do it? Yeah, and now he lives in Chicago. I said, how the hell do you do that? I mean, I like visiting for the weekend, but I don't want to have that Lake Michigan wind cutting me right now going to work. Wendy would never leave the house. I wouldn't see her for 4 months. I just call home. What are you doing? I'm still in the living room by the fire. Not getting out in this.
No.
Crazy. Dr. Mike Manning with the Mississippi Vein Institute and the Men's Clinic in Madison and Brandon. TheManThing.com. He's going to hang out with us for 10 minutes. And I love what they do. And he's going to walk us through the who and the why as to what they are at themanthing.com and the men's. Also, Madison Compound Pharmacy. Good morning. Welcome into the Out of Bounds Show. ESPN 105.9 The Zone. Dr. Mike Manning joining us on the Farm Bureau Insurance Guest Line. And it's a Football Friday brought to you by the Men's Clinic in Madison, Men's Clinic in Brandon, and Dr. Mike Manning. How you doing, my friend?
Man, it's good to be here. Good to see you.
You been doing well?
Been doing good, man. Just waiting on springtime. Tired of this cold weather.
Holy smokes.
Yeah.
Woke up this morning and I'd left my window down a little bit
Oh, yeah.
in my car. So my seat was wet. That was awesome.
That's a good way to start it off.
Isn't it great? Yeah. All right, let's go through. We'll reintroduce you. Tell everybody what all y'all do, including the Mississippi Vein Institute.
Yeah, well, the first business that I started was Mississippi Vein. That was about almost 20 years ago.
Wow.
We work on lower extremity venous disease, primarily varicose veins, spider veins, venous ulcerations, that sort of thing. And then I started something called the Men's Clinic, which is really a wellness clinic for guys. It started off testosterone optimization, but it's really evolved into a lot more than that. We're really trying to keep our guys healthy and run really kind of specialized lab panels to figure out what's going on. Because if we can get on stuff early, we can make a real difference. What guys got to understand is, a guy's 50 years old, he has a heart attack. That disease process started probably in his 30s, maybe even, in his 40s. And so, if we can make some changes early on, the thing is, we just got to know it. Guys got to come in. We got to get them checked out, figure out what's going on, and get it fixed. Yeah. And then I started Mississippi Medical Aesthetics, and we do aesthetics. The guys in the men's clinic have access to all that, and they get discounts on everything done in that clinic as a consequence of being a member of the men's clinic. And then we ended up starting our own pharmacy, Madison Medical Compounding Pharmacy, that's run by Matt Chambers.
Great guy.
Who is, I can't even tell you, awesome guy. He's not a big guy, but he was a wrestler for the University of Wisconsin back in the day. So he's that guy you'd pick to whip, and he'd just kill you.
That's right.
Yeah, but he is just a fantastic guy. And, patients don't have to use our pharmacy. They can use any pharmacy they want to. But, once they meet Matt, they'll want to. I mean, that guy's just the best. You know Matt.
Yeah. I know Matt. I see him a lot, and your team there does a great job.
Oh, can't say enough. That's the thing that I've been blessed with really more than anything is my teams. The people,
you've had a lot of people with you for a long time at Mississippi Vein.
A long time. And, we are a team. I have people coming in all the time. And they're like, Mike, I get a lot of the accolades, right?
Right.
But I make them understand that it's a team effort. I mean, it's all of us working together,
sure.
To get the kind of results we do. And, we have patients that come in from all over the South, really all over the country. They'll fly in here. I was trained by John Kingsley, who was one of the gurus, legend in the vein world, and he passed away about 10 years ago. And so a lot of people want John to fix their legs, but the closest they can get to John is me.
Right.
And so I'm one of the owners of the Hilton Hotel in Madison, and so we'll have patients fly in, put them up in the hotel, get their legs fixed, and out they go. Yeah.
Well, congratulations. You're a physician, but you're also an entrepreneur. You got that entrepreneur spirit.
Oh, big time. And, I started off as an anesthesiologist, and I was good at it. I was trained at Wake Forest. I was president of my group, this, that, and the other, but I just didn't like it. Not like I like what I do now, because it is entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
And, so we do real estate development, assisted living facilities, hotels, restaurants. One of our developments is actually the Village in Madison, if you happen to know where the half shell is. We're doing that development, the houses back there. My son with Manning & Manning Construction is one of the builders in there. And then my other son, Jake Manning, has got Mississippi Smart Homes. So he does, he comes into businesses and homes and makes everything smart where you can, turn things on with your voice. And he does security and outside lighting and those sorts of things. So, he participates in a lot of stuff that we do too.
Yeah. Dr. Mike Manning on the Out of Bounds Show. ESPN 105.9 The Zone, the Men's Clinic, Mississippi Vein Institute, among other things. He joins us on ESPN 105.9 The Zone. Yeah, we had Jake in a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
And I've got the Sonos surround system in my house, in my living room and in my man room. I love it. It's great for movies.
Yeah.
It's great for games. And it's great when you want to turn Spotify on loud and listen to some good music while you're cooking or having a glass of wine.
Yeah.
That's a cool deal.
Yeah,
and he did the lighting outside.
He's done a good job with that business. He's had it for about 4 or 5 years, and I told him I thought if he went that long, he'd make it,
Right.
is with a business. And they've just finished a new building that they've got in Ridgeland. He and John are sharing space in a new building. He's going to have an open house next week where the public can come in and see the building. Yeah, so Tuesday will be the day. So folks out there, if you got on Tuesday of next week, stop by and see Jake. They'll have food and stuff all day, and you can tour his building.
New spot off Jackson Avenue, right behind Kralaka's, which is a wonderful place to eat.
Right.
And Mississippi Smart Homes will now have a showroom for you to check out. And then Mike was talking about John Manning. They're building really cool homes right behind Half Shell, where Raggio, our buddy, he's on the show, Raggio Mercantile Shops there and so on. Got some cool stuff going on.
Yeah, I just met Josh. We became friends, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago. And,
he's awesome.
He's unbelievable. I mean, just an absolutely beautiful store. I recommend everybody go by there. We don't have a men's gift store in our area other than that, but it's almost like you're in Colorado or something. It looks like something that's in Telluride.
I know.
Yeah, and he is just a really neat guy, and so I think people enjoy meeting him.
Yeah. Hell of a baseball player. He famous duck caller, maker.
Oh, yeah.
And then turned it into Raggio Mercantile Shop in Raymond. His place in Raymond's awesome, and his place in Madison's super cool too. The men's clinic. So what you're doing is you are assisting men through the aging process.
That's right. And, I tried to build the clinic so it wasn't intimidating. Guys don't like to go to the doctor. I don't like going to the doctor.
Right.
I mean, and so, it looks very similar to your studio here.
It's a man cave.
It's a man cave. It is. And, my partner, Cliff Adams, is just a good old boy like me. And so it's a very relaxed environment. It's run by 2 male nurses that are there, every day. We see all the new patients and, of course, look at all the lab and manage any problems. But, we have Jake and Ross that run it and on a day-to-day basis, and I just can't say enough good things about them. They're just absolutely excellent. Yeah. And so it's not intimidating. It's like going to a duck camp, really. It's what it looks like on the inside.
That's right.
That's it. And then we opened a second a spot in Brandon that's run by Michael Nems, who is a nurse practitioner. And we started that about a year ago, and Mike has already got close to 600 men in that clinic already.
Wow. How about that?
Between the 2 clinics, we've got about 2,000 men in our clinics. And so we've been doing it now for about 15 years. So we have a lot of experience in managing, hormones and the health of men.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
I appreciate it.
TheManThing.com, the men's clinic in Madison, the men's clinic in Brandon, Dr. Mike Manning and Dr. Cliff Adams. We're live in the Bank Plus studio, Out of Bounds, 105.9 The Zone, ESPN. How much time we got? All right, about a minute and a half. You going to the basketball game tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, finally, we got Mississippi State winning at something. And so, I'm excited to go. I'll be going with my older boy, John, one of my business partners. He always has good tickets, so he's letting us use his tickets tomorrow.
The place is going to be crazy tomorrow night.
Oh, it'll be insane. So, and I hadn't been since they've redone the Coliseum.
It's
so
nice.
It'll be nice to see it, yeah.
You're going to like it. They did a hell of a job.
Yeah.
Yeah, the way they totally redid the concession stands and the restrooms and opened it up, and the club level's cool, and it's well done.
Yeah.
So 14-1, I think they are. Josh Hubbard and Cam Matthews. They
beat Vanderbilt on the road.
I know.
Come on.
That's a tough place to win.
Yeah.
Mike Manning, thank you, buddy. We appreciate it. Dr. Mike Manning, the men's clinic in Madison, the men's clinic in Brandon, themanthing.com, also the Mississippi Bain Institute, and Madison Compound Pharmacy. Matt is a super guy who runs that. University of Wisconsin, Badger, and you said former wrestler?
Oh, yeah, he wrestled for a couple of years in Wisconsin.
incredible.
He was a state champion, the whole thing.
He's in great shape.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Tom Luganville coming up next on the Farm Bureau Insurance Guest Line, National College Football Analyst with ESPN. We'll recap a little bit of the game from last night. Notre Dame wins in a really hell of a game. And then we'll talk tonight. Texas and Ohio State and Arlington, Texas, and Jerry Jones Stadium. Back in a second. Oh, man. That was a street fight last night. 31 points in the fourth quarter? Oh, that was a ton of fun. Mitch Jeter, never a doubt when that damn football left his foot. Good grief. Nails. But it was a hell of a game. And kudos to Notre Dame for pulling it out and winning and playing January 20th in the national championship game. We are the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. Experience the action at BetMGM Book Bar and Grill, only at the Beau Rivage on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. BetMGM is the king of sportsbooks, and Beau Rivage's BetMGM Book Bar and Grill is the South's premier Vegas-style sportsbook on the beautiful Mississippi Gulf Coast. We welcome in Tom Luganbill, national college football analyst with ESPN, and he joins us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. What was it like just to kick back and watch a game and not have to work?
It was nice. It was fun. Actually just got to, sit back and chill out and enjoy it like everybody else. And, man, what a slugfest it was, too. I mean, that was two really good football teams that were really physical, really tough. And I think, in a game like that, it's so back and forth. It doesn't necessarily come down to the plays that are being made. It comes down to mistakes, right? And a play here and a play there makes the difference, especially when everything is pretty equitable across the board talent-wise. I thought both of those teams handled the back and forth and the ebbs and flows of the game and just hung in there and kept playing really, really well.
It was a street fight, ton of fun to watch. I agree with you. The physicality was something else. Not just in the trenches, Luke's, out in space, those guys were getting after it and lighting each other up.
Absolutely, man. I mean, there's some tough kids and some tough football players on both of those teams. And, I thought there was a couple of things that stood out. Number one, the real difference in the game to me was Penn State very, very poor on third down on offense, and Notre Dame was exceptional. I think Notre Dame was 11 of 17 on third down, and that was a critical part of the game. And then I really thought Drew Aller just had an off day.
Yeah.
He missed open players. He was not in rhythm, struggled to get into rhythm. And conversely, the guy that everybody says is only a runner, I thought Riley Leonard made some spectacular throws.
He did.
That were clutch throws at big time in that game. And so, but listen, a back and forth game in the playoff, it's going to come down to one possession. That's exactly what we all wanted.
Absolutely. Tom Luganbill, I would have tried to get the ball to Tyler Warren more just because he's such a freak. Six touches for 75 yards through the air and 2 on the ground is just not enough for me. How did you see it, Luke?
Yeah, I think especially when you consider that aside from Amari Evans, there's no production at wide receiver for Penn State. It's the two running backs, it's Tyler Warren, and it's Drew Aller. And obviously you can't force it to him. You'd like to get it to him some more, but defensively, Notre Dame's not going to let that guy just go up and down the field on you. You're going to have a plan to stop Tyler Warren and force Drew Aller to go somewhere else. And on a day where he was off, that played into Notre Dame's hands.
Tom Luganbill on the Out of Bounds Show. Speaking of Riley Leonard and making plays, that dude got absolutely tattooed and comes back and has a dude factor in the second half. I was more than impressed, Tom. As a former Power 5 starting quarterback, what did you see?
Yeah, and I've had a chance. I've had a chance to broadcast one of Riley Leonard's games, actually 2 over when he was at Duke his first 2 years. And you just see a kid that never looks at the scoreboard. He just plays. He doesn't get caught up in the emotion of the game. That whole team's like that. They just hang around and they keep chopping away at it. And, by and large, they made some mistakes last night, but for the most part, that's been the team that's been the most disciplined, well-prepared, well-coached team, I think, in the playoff. And, when the quarterback does the routine things routinely, which is what I think, Riley Leonard does, then you're going to have a chance to be successful because he's not careless with the football and he doesn't take negative plays. Where I think people have undervalued him is as a passer. They view him as a one-dimensional player, and then when you do that, he's good enough to beat you.
Yes, which you just teed me up. You talked about Notre Dame and their discipline and how they're well coached. Marcus Freeman, Tom Lugeman. I mean, he gets promoted from within. You're not sure how it's going to go. You don't ever know. It's a crapshoot for most of these guys. What's crazy is it's easy for me to dislike Notre Dame my whole life. And now I like him because this guy is so likable. But talk about how he's developed into one hell of a head coach, Luke.
Well, I think what he's done is he's been able to create this balance between being a player's coach. The players like to play for him and they actually like him, but at the same time be demanding and not compromise on what standards and the foundational pillars are of the program. And one of the reasons why I think that's so important is college football has become such a transactional sport now. It's transient. Everybody's on loan. And you got the turnstile of the transfer portal going out and coming in the door. But if you look at Notre Dame, they don't lose a lot of guys to the transfer portal. They've been able to retain and develop and then keep guys around. Now, I think some of that is because one of the approaches that Marcus Freeman has taken, and I think this is a really smart one, and probably why the players have responded, is they want to invest from a transfer portal standpoint. They want to invest in their own guys. Mm-hmm. They're not worried about the shiny toy under the tree somewhere else. And I think that's how in the world of this sport, where it has become increasingly difficult to have or maintain that team atmosphere, that's one of the reasons why I think they have that there.
I like him.
I do too.
He's just getting into, he's still developing. I mean, we all are, but he's just got the stuff, like you said, the charisma. They do want to play for him, but they've obviously got a ton of discipline and accountability in that program. They get smart kids anyway. High IQ, football IQ, life IQ kids. I remember that, Luke's, what was it? It was almost like a Hard Knocks on Notre Dame a couple of years ago. Oh, yeah. And I was just blown away with all their guys and how articulate they were. And I guess savvy at 20 and 21, years old. Yeah. Impressed. I was wrong, Luke, the last 20 plus years doing this show. As the paradigm shift of college football, I said that Notre Dame couldn't win it. I didn't know we were going to go to a 12-team playoff and have this, like you just mentioned, mass portal exodus, and the Georgias and the Bamas and the LSUs were not going to be as deep as they once were. And I don't think they ever are going to be again. I think Ohio State may be the last team to be what kind of Saban worked with and LSU and so on the last 15 or 20 years. And as the head of ESPN recruiting, I think you get exactly where I'm going. But I don't know if they can win January 20th, whoever comes out of tonight. But I wouldn't be surprised if it's a game in the fourth quarter, Luke.
Oh, I wouldn't either. Listen, they're good. Like I said, really since the latter part of the season, they have three things that travel. They can stop the run, they can run the football, and they don't beat themselves. And I think when you have that and you've closed the talent gap, which clearly they have closed the talent gap with other programs. And again, I think a little bit of that is because they are not as transactional from a foundational roster perspective as some of these other teams have become. But I just think that they are one of those teams that nobody wants to play. Mm-hmm. And if you're going to play them and beat them, you're going to have to make fewer mistakes than they do.
Yeah. The Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone, is brought to you by the BetMGM Book Bar and Grill, only at the Beau Rivage on Mississippi's beautiful Gulf Coast. We're visiting with Lugs, national college football analyst with ESPN, and he joins us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. Okay, how about Freeman as an Ohio State alum if Ohio State wins tonight? I mean, won't that be an unbelievable story, him at Notre Dame playing his alma mater?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be unbelievable. And just from a blue blood perspective, I mean, what if it's, Notre Dame and Ohio State? Like, are you kidding me? I mean, we couldn't ask for anything more. I mean, that's just, you'd like to see these types of matchups. And I think there's going to be 4 to 6 teams every year that we could expect to see in this spot. They're probably going to be similar or the same teams every year in this spot, just because of how certain teams are built and what they're capable of doing. I mean, think about how long this season has been. Think about what these guys have to do just to get through this thing. The luck, the health, the quarterback play, peaking at the right time. And that's where you kind of look at Notre Dame and Ohio State and see the similarities. I mean, remember, Notre Dame was almost disposed of. You looked at their schedule. It was terrible. You lose at home to Northern Illinois. You just keep finding a way to get better and better and better. And then all of a sudden, at this point of the year, you're playing your best football. And so is Ohio State. And to be honest with you, I think that's why the championship will be Ohio State and Notre Dame.
All right, let's go to that game. What are the key points, matchups that you're looking at tonight in Arlington, Texas, between the Longhorns and the Buckeyes, Luke?
All right, so a couple of things, and it begins and ends with the Texas run game. And I've been doing a little background on this and some pretty staggering numbers, because I know that Quinn Ewers has received a lot of criticism, right? He's had a bit of an up and down year. He's also been injured. I don't know if any of us truly know the severity of the injury, but he's been injured, and he's worked and battled through it. So he's clearly competitive, and he's tough, and he's physical and mentally tough. But when this offense rushes for less than 100 yards a game, he's completing 60% of his passes, and he's thrown 6 touchdowns to 4 interceptions.
Whoa.
But look at this. When they rush for over 100 yards a game, his completion percentage goes up 9 points, 69%. And his touchdown to interception ratio has been 23-7. Folks, Quinn Ewers is a play action passer. That's what he is. And if they can't run the ball, he's not a drop back guy, and he is not an RPO guy. They need to be able to run the football effectively, which is going to be tough sledding against an Ohio State defense that has been exceptional really all throughout the entirety of the year. But those are pretty staggering numbers. I mean, you're under 100 rush yards a game. His QBR, Quinn Ewers, is 65. And when you're rushing for over 100 yards a game, his QBR is 80.
Whoa.
So that's going to, some pretty stark numbers there in terms of describing what have been some of the inconsistencies and a reflection as to why. Well, it's tied to the run game.
Tom Luganville on the Out of Bounds show talking Longhorns and Buckeyes. Do you think that the two-headed monster at tailback for Ohio State, what kind of success do you believe that they'll have against that Texas front tonight?
Well, that's the $64,000 question for me. Is it's not necessarily going to be can they stop the run. It's can they affect Will Howard. Nobody has been able to affect him after the Michigan game. Tennessee couldn't do it. Oregon couldn't do it. And there's a variety of reasons why. They've tweaked the offense a little bit. They started moving the launch point. They started moving Will Howard around. They're in more spread concepts, and they're moving players and shifting and motioning and all these sorts of things. And that stuff has really opened up the offense. But as a result, Will Howard has kind of come out of each of the last 2 games unscathed and unfazed. This Texas pass rush has to affect Will Howard, because if they don't get in his face, if they don't force him off platform, and he just gets to pick and choose where he's going with the ball with those targets, it's going to be a long day for Texas on defense, because Ohio State they've been flawless throughout the playoff on offense. So I think it's the pass rush of Texas that's going to have to come and play and make some plays tonight.
All right. How impressed are you with after Chip Kelly and Ohio State's offense got embarrassed by Michigan that you just alluded to the fact that he tweaked and tinkered with it a little bit, and now they've rolled out just a little bit of a variation of what they've been doing, and it's been really, really successful for Chip Kelly and them.
Yeah, and listen, and I had some nuggets there too that I was working on. It's interesting. You look at the regular season, okay, with this offense and what Chip Kelly has done, and you look at the use of 12 personnel, 1 running back, 2 tight ends. They in the regular season they were in 12 personnel 15% of the time. In the playoff, they've been in it 43% of the time. And then what they've also done is they have really upped their percentage in the playoff of quarterback rollouts and quarterback play action that moves the pocket. And then here's the most staggering number, and this is what Texas has to contend with. So during the regular season, on plays of 20 yards or more, so explosive plays through the air, the completion percentage for Will Howard during the season was 52%, which on plays of 20 yards or more is actually a pretty darn good number, right? Because the further downfield you go,
sure,
the least likely it is you're going to complete it. And get this, in the college football playoff, completion percentage on plays of 20 yards or more for Ohio State is 88%.
What?
88%. So if you're Texas, you better figure out how to stop the explosive play because nobody else has figured it out in the playoff.
Yeah, and they played 2 teams with talent on the defensive side of football, like you mentioned in Oregon and Tennessee. I mean, Oregon and Tennessee both hurt some people's feelings throughout the regular season. Damn. So Chip Kelly, he may not like to recruit, and the head coaching gig may not be his thing now with everything that's happened. But, man, that dude can draw it up, and he's a hell of a play caller. And so they get embarrassed, and he goes back in the little think tank there in Columbus, Ohio, and they're dialing up some cool stuff, aren't they?
They are. Oh, absolutely, man. I mean, and I think the other thing, too, is I mentioned the 12 personnel. There's been a significant uptick in how they are approaching the play pre-snap, meaning far more motion, far more shift, a lot of pre-snap eye candy, and it's all meant to obviously isolate defenders and create the best matchup. And so I think they've just done a really good job of dialing into what's worked and making corrections. And the team seems to be hungry. I mean, that team right now is playing lights out.
Tom Luganville on the Out of Bounds show. They're both elite recruiters, but how would you size up the talent? Is it a push, or do you give the Buckeyes a slight edge? How do you frame it up?
I think Ohio State right now has more overall talent on the offensive side of the ball. I would not say that they're the most talented team in the offensive line. I think Texas has a more talented offensive line than Ohio State. But as far as the collection of running backs and perimeter players, I think Ohio State's got the edge there. I think it's more of a push on defense than anything else. And when it is a push on defense, then who's going to be able to stop the run and who doesn't give up explosive plays?
Okay. Do you think Quinn Ewers is an NFL quarterback?
I think he has NFL traits and NFL ability level. I don't think he's performed to the consistency that you have to have, I think, at all times as a top-tier guy. And a lot of that could be change of personnel. Some of that could be dealing with injuries.
Right.
But he hasn't been, I don't think, the consistent guy that maybe we all expected him to be.
Okay. I'll put you on the spot. Who is, and you may not have looked at this at all because you've been calling 9,000 games and flying all over the country, but like who is your number one prospect at QB coming out? Is it Shador? Is it Cam? Is it? Okay.
No, it's Cam Ward.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Cam Ward. And to be honest with you, I don't think it's a good quarterback year.
Fair enough.
I really don't. But I think Cam Ward's really good.
Okay.
I don't like what Cam Ward did in the bowl game, but I think he's really good.
Right. Super talented, man. Golly.
Yeah.
Woo. Is Dart in your top 5 as QB prospects for?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
And I think his stock's going to go up as he starts to go through the pre-draft process.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll tell you this though, like I don't think I think there are a lot of people in the National Football League that don't even have a first round grade on Shedeur Sanders.
How about that? And most everybody does on Cam Ward, if not everybody.
Yep.
Okay.
That's right.
If you were a GM, would you take Dart or Shedeur?
Would I take Dart? Ooh, I'd probably take Dart, but I would be in the minority there, but I may not necessarily be in the minority amongst NFL circles.
Okay, what about Milroe or Dart? Dart?
Oh, Dart.
Yeah.
I to be honest with you, I'm really surprised that Milroe is entering the NFL draft. I don't know. That surprises me.
Okay. All right, man. So you get to hang out again tonight and just open a beer or pour a bourbon and watch the game?
I've got a couple of Sports Center hits in the noon and 1 o'clock hour, and then I've got College Football Live on ESPN from 3 to 4 today. And then after that, I just get to enjoy it.
Dude, that's awesome. I love it.
Yep.
All right, man.
It's great.
Well, enjoy a beverage. And I thought last night's game was a ton of fun and just entertaining and awesome. And maybe we'll get another good one tonight.
Yeah, sounds good, man. It'll be great.
All right, have a good weekend. See you, bud.
All right, buddy.
Tom Luganbill, national college football analyst with ESPN. He joined us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. Show is brought to you by the BetMGM Book Barn Grill, only at the Beau Rivage on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. Experience the king of sports books and Beau Rivage's BetMGM Book Barn Grill is the South's premier Vegas-style sports book. By the way, they have Elijah Craig Small Batch. Now, guys, we're excited. We've had great bourbon partners the last 15 years. Unbelievable. It's been a ton of fun, and I've gotten to know Kentucky and Lexington and Louisville and all that. And we're going back up this year. It looks like twice, so I'm pumped. And we've been able to do a show up there, 2 shows, which has been a blast. But we want to welcome in Elijah Craig bourbon to the show. Super, super high quality juice. The small batch is absolutely amazing. The rye is delicious. We're going to tell you more about the Toasted Barrel over the course of the next few months from Elijah Craig, and also the 18-year, which is released twice. Taste in Starkville. It's funny, I was there last weekend and with a friend, and I saw the Elijah Craig 18-year, and we're going to have some fun with that too. So the official bourbon of the PGA, the official bourbon of the Ryder Cup, which is actually in the United States this year at Bethpage Black. The PGA Championship is actually in Luganbill's backyard at Quail Hollow in Charlotte, which is awesome too. Hopefully we can get there. But the official bourbon of the Out of Bounds show is Elijah Craig, the godfather of bourbon. He is the godfather of bourbon. Their website is awesome, by the way. Been dancing around on that the last couple of months. ElijahCraig.com. Good morning. Welcome in on a Football Friday. Brought to you by Rick's Pro Truck and RPT for your next spray and bed liner or lift kit.
Say, kids, what time is it?
It's 9 a.m. and this ain't okay show. It's the Out of Bounds Show with Bo Bounds.
All aboard!
As Mississippi's #1 morning show rolls on the Zone 105.9 and online at thezone1059.com.
Good morning to you. Be careful out there. It's wet, rain. I saw the snow in Starkville and Oxford. Unbelievable. It's beautiful. Starkville just threw up an awesome picture. And and then Dole Bryan had sent me a picture of Oxford. But Starkville, Mississippi's college town on Facebook has some awesome pics of the snow downtown by Spring Street Cigars in Starkville and Restaurant Tyler and the Speakeasy, the Guest Room, and the Ben and Two Brothers. And they also posted it on Instagram too. It looks awesome. And that's cool. Very, very cool. Man, they got a lot of snow. Wow. But it's supposed to get out of here about 2:00, the precipitation, which I'm pretty excited about, to be honest with you. We are the Out of Bounds Show, 105.9 The Zone, ESPN. I don't think I'm going to take the boat out today. Be crazy.
Why does snow look cool?
Well, because I'm not in it.
Oh,
no,
okay,
I mean, actually, I'm cool with being in the snow for an hour or 2 or 3. I'm all about that. Now, the icy stuff, I mean, if we're going to have it, let's get snow. Football Friday brought to you by Mango Cart Wheat Ale. Martin's in Livingston has it on tap. Yeah, Mango Cart Wheat Ale. Mudbugs had it this past year, and it did really, really well. It's good. Jackson Meadows' new favorite beer, Mango Cart Wheat Ale. Mango Cart Wheat Ale. Golden Roads Mango Cart is a perfectly balanced craft wheat ale made with real mango. The Keg House on Highway 51, they have Mango Cart on tap. 41 beers on tap. Now, it's a good day to go to the Keg House. They're actually open for lunch today. You want that muffaletta? Lunch at the Keg House, Highway 51 in Ridgeland, right by Fleet Feet. Highway 51. You like a pretzel and a beer?
Love pretzels. Love beer. They may as well go hand in hand.
They have beer mustard and beer cheese with the game day pretzel from the Keg House in Ridgeland on 51. Beer mustard and beer cheese.
How do you beat that? Regular mustard ain't going to beat that.
No.
Regular cheese.
You remember we did a show last summer on mustard and fries, and I had never really thought about it. And I don't remember who texted in on the Mac Hike Auto Group text line, but somebody mentioned fries and mustard, and since then, Wendy and I have been on this kick of cook it. Well, you don't really cook it; just throw sweet potato fries in the oven and put mustard.
Yeah, I do recall now the sweet potato fries with mustard.
Yeah, it is the money shot.
I can't believe that.
We did it last night.
Is that like a sweet and sour thing? What is that?
No, I mean, because sweet potato fries aren't that sweet,
They're not.
or the ones we get aren't.
What kind of mustard?
Just regular.
Okay.
But I mean, I'm open to spicy mustard too.
Okay.
Yeah. By the way, I just walked through Beagle Bagel. How good does that place smell?
So good.
Beagle Bagel in Madison. I mean, they got all those treats out, and it just looks good. What'd you have yesterday? Chicken salad?
Oh, the panini.
You got the chicken salad panini from Beagle
So
Bagel
good.
in Madison. You were like in hell. You were smiling from ear to ear.
As soon as I got it, it was done.
Man,
God drilled
it
that
looked delicious.
thing. That powered me through yesterday.
Did it get you through?
Got me through. Needed it. Big
And then the
time.
day before, you had the Big Joe,
Big Joe really put
which
me
is
in there.
basically their French dip in a way.
Love it.
It's one of the best sandwiches in the state.
It is a phenomenal French dip. It's actually really freaking good.
It's ridiculous.
So good.
Yeah, but
we-
I saw you looking at your chicken salad panini, and you were like,
very pleased.
yeah, it was like staring. You were like staring at a beautiful woman.
Yeah. Same thing.
You were happy.
Same thing.
How good was it?
Almost.
Which one is better, the chicken salad panini or Big Joe?
Oh man, give me the Joe.
Really?
On a cold day, give me the.
Okay, cold day Joe.
Because you get the highlight, you get the au jus. You get the sauce or the.
Dude, I think the au jus is so good.
I why isn't that on everything?
Au jus.
Why isn't it on everything? I could dip anything in that.
I'm with you. You know what? I could dip onion rings in that.
That actually would be really.
Are you
good.
serious?
What is au jus even made of? Like, what is it?
I
have.
It's made of amazing.
Yeah, whatever it is, that is correct.
Yeah.
Is it?
So you've gone back-to-back days. Big Joe from Beagle Bagel in Madison and the chicken salad panini from Beagle Bagel in Madison.
Just trying to eat good.
Yeah.
That's just good eating.
Good eating. I love it. Hey, the Mac Hike Auto Group text line is 601-885-3776. Don't forget that Justin Waite wants to buy your car. He's at Mac Hike Ford. So you're wanting to sell your car. You don't want to spend a lot of time on it. You don't want the hassle. He'll come to your office or your home, look it over, give you a price. Mac Hike, Justin Waite wants to buy your car. Call him today. Justin Waite, Mac Hike Ford. You don't want to invest a lot of time in it. He'll come to your office, your manufacturing facility, your school if you're teaching or coaching, wherever. Justin Waite, Mac Hike Ford, wants to buy your car, SUV, or truck. We're on Twitter X at Bo Bounce, and the Mango Cart, which is an amazing beer, Mango Cart caller line is 601-707-3750. 707-3750. Who are you rooting for tonight? Ohio State or Texas?
Does it SEC?
I'm rooting for a good game.
Yeah, because I don't really
like either team, or
No.
I don't hate. I mean, like, I don't dislike.
Well, are they shouldering the load for the SEC? Is that a thing?
See, I'm not. I don't need
think
to.
so.
They're still in their first year. It's going to take them 3 or 4 years to really be in the SEC for me.
Right.
But
be
I am
accepted.
glad that they're in. I mean, it's
Sure.
going to be great opportunities for us, and I enjoyed going out to Dallas, Texas for SEC Media Days. We wouldn't have gone out there if Texas doesn't join the party with it. You know, A&M joined a decade plus ago, and Oklahoma jumped in.
It's been 10 plus since they got in.
2012,
Wow. Yeah.
somewhere in there. That's when we met Johnny Manziel. One of the most, you can say what you want about him, probably my favorite player to watch, except when he was boat racing Mississippi State. But he somehow won 2 games against Ole Miss that he just got lucky. Ole Miss played them. I don't remember what Manziel's years were, but I think it was 12 and 13. Ole Miss gave A&M all they wanted. Had them beaten. I swear Johnny Manziel tore his ACL and jumped up. I've never seen anything like it. His leg buckled. He's running around. His leg buckles. I'm like, that's an ACL tear. He gets up.
Moves.
And then had to make a play or two. Freeze and Ole Miss had him beat. And then a couple years later, Mississippi State would start to own A&M.
That's right.
I mean, Dak beat him. Fitzgerald beat him. Even Joe Moorhead because Nick Fitzgerald ripped off that, 55-yard run?
Yep.
Back in a second.
Yeah.
Hey, the show is brought to you by the 3 sports books within the Pearl River Resort family. Obviously, the one inside the Golden Moon, Timeout Lounge, Philadelphia, Mississippi. Crystal Sky Casino, Louisville, Mississippi. Pre-game, post-game, Mississippi State basketball and baseball. 150 slot machines, sports book, Mom and M's restaurant. Best wings I've had in a long time yesterday after the show. And Bocoma outside of Laurel, Mississippi. We're ESPN 105.9 The Zone. We're live in the Bank Plus studio. Man, what a game last night. Notre Dame with a big win. And this article in the New York Times or The Athletic talks about how likable they are because of Marcus Freeman. And they're right. The title of the article by Ralph Russo is Notre Dame football likable now. And Marcus Freeman's made them likable. Ryan Nanny's a podcaster, and he talked about how unlikable Brian Kelly was and Charlie Weiss, and he's right. And I've really enjoyed beating up on Notre Dame. And now, last night, I'm rooting for them. That was a hell of a ball game. 31 points in the fourth quarter. Big play after big play, momentum swings and shifts. Marcus Freeman, Ohio State alum, Notre Dame head coach, has his team, the Fighting Irish, in the national championship game January 20th in Atlanta, Georgia, in the Mercedes-Benz Dome. Tonight, we get Texas, Ohio State. Never been a better time to be a sports fan. You got NFL all weekend. You got SEC basketball, and you get another college football playoff game tonight. And in 2 blue bloods, Texas Longhorns with Sark, Ryan Day, and Ohio State. Chip Kelly, he got embarrassed against Michigan last game of the season, and he went back in the lab, and they've been hurting people's feelings. Tennessee and Oregon can play ball. They can play football. They have dudes. They have talent. And give Ohio State credit. Those numbers that Luganville dropped on us, as far as how their offense looks now and what they're doing on explosive plays and the formation that they're lining up in from what is 15 to 42% of the time or 44% of the time? Unreal what Chip Kelly, the little wizard. He doesn't like to recruit. He doesn't know how to staff. You know who you are, right? I mean, but he's like, I'm a really good play caller, so I'm going to let Ohio State pay me $2 million a year, and I'm going to dial it up. Michigan embarrassed me. That defensive coordinator's phenomenal at Michigan, and it took them about halfway through the season to figure out who they were and what they were on the defensive side of the football. Michigan was terrible on offense. Could not complete a forward pass, 5 yards. Couldn't do it. However, they'll play your you-know-what off on defense, and they embarrassed the Ohio State Buckeyes this year. They did. And give Ohio State credit. They didn't flinch. They got back in the lab, and they tweaked some things, which we all have to do in life. And Chip Kelly let Tennessee and Oregon know about it. He did. And those guys have NFL players and 4- and 5-star athletes. I'm impressed. And we'll see what Quinn Ewers does tonight. Those stats Luganville gave us about Texas having to run for over 100 yards. I mean, I'm going to start keeping an eye. I'm going to track that throughout the first and second quarter, see what's happening. And as he said, Quinn Ewers is a play-action quarterback. He is not a pocket quarterback. He's not an RPO quarterback. He is a play-action QB. Can they generate some rushing yards in those first what? What are y'all thinking? At least 3 to 4 to 5 series of the game. Keep an eye on that. And then Ohio State has the 2-headed monster at tailback. And one of them's name's Judkins.
Will we see
but we also know what those wide receivers have been doing in the playoffs. Holy moly. I just want a hell of a ball game, you know? And last night was past my bedtime. See, I can't do that. So then after the game, I'd go back and get in the shower. Wasn't sure if I was going to be able to go to sleep. It worked out. You know what? I usually, I'm old now, and I'll wake up. I did not wake up. I got up And the first time I opened my eyes was 5:05 this morning. I'm real good at getting up at like 2:30 or 3 and then falling back asleep at 5 when I need to get up. Dude, I did not, like one eye just lifted. And I was like, what time is it? 5:05.
Slept through.
Wow.
It's a good feeling.
It is a good feeling.
Yeah, it really is.
It is a good feeling. You know what's also a good feeling is the oyster po' boy or the fried shrimp po' boy from Martin's in Livingston.
Could eat one of those while I watch Arch.
What do you think about those pork rinds nachos?
Those are
On a heater?
It's the perfect appetizer. Especially if I'm drinking beer.
Mango cart?
Yeah, now that and some pork rinds would go real well together.
I love it. The Out of Bounds Show, 105.9 The Zone, ESPN, is brought to you by the Mississippi State University College of Business and Dean Scott Graw. Dean Scott Graw was recruited by Ron Polk. This is an incredible story. He becomes the dean of the business school for Mississippi State years later. Dean Scott Graw spent over 10 years in the private sector, which is a good thing, at a high level. He was recruited by Ron Polk, but wanted to stay home so his family could watch him play. I get it. So he went to Iowa State to play baseball. Coach Polk gave him a hard time when he was named the dean of the business school, College of Business last year. And they hit it off. And Dean Scott Graw loves some Mississippi State baseball. I was talking to him last year. He said, I can't believe this. He said, I knew about it, but I just can't believe it. And we were out in the left field at a friend of mine's rig. And he's out there. He's always talking to students. He's young, been in the private sector. They're offering over $2 million in scholarships. Network with the next generation of innovators and executives in McCool Hall, home to Mississippi State's College of Business and Dean Scott Graw, who was recruited out of high school by Ron Polk. Unreal. Said he kept the letter. Said Coach Polk congratulate, and he was like, hey, wish you the best. After, Scott Graw had to say, hey, I'm going to stay closer to home and go play college baseball at Iowa State. Scott looks like a 3-hole hitter that could mash. Strong. And, a dude that could, if you hung that curveball, yeah. Or if you throw a fastball chest high or numbers high, low numbers high. Ooh, rip. But go ahead and tour the Mississippi State College of Business. And Dean Scott Graw and his team would love to host you. See, this is what I love. This is the part of academia that I like. When you say, I was in the private sector. That's awesome. And they would love to see you this spring. Get your son or daughter, go up, take a tour of the Mississippi State University College of Business. Explore hands-on learning and real-world experiences at the Mississippi State University College of Business. And you'll want to meet Dean Scott Graw. Impressive. That was a fantastic hire by MSU and Dr. Keenum. They got a lot of momentum. And I do think it's cool that he's the dean of the business school and was recruited by Ron Polk out of high school to go to Mississippi State, but chose to stay close to home, which I don't blame him, and play at Iowa State. Good morning. Welcome in. Tom Luganbill coming up next. We'll talk Penn State, Notre Dame. Marcus Freeman's the toast of the town. And then Texas and Ohio State tonight.